When you think about that moment, Spencer, do you think that's what happened? God was there protecting you?
Well, of course, yeah. That never happens.
Too many coincidences.
That's just one coincidence, yeah. And the knife, you know.
The initial scuffle at the bathroom, we would have never known anything was happening if there wasn't like the commotion at the bathroom at first.
Yeah.
Because what originally happened was one passenger saw him going into the bathroom. He took too long in there with his suitcase. Well, he came out and he wound up shooting another man, a French-American.
He was waiting to go to the bathroom, and this is the guy who doesn't want to be recognized. And when he came out of the bathroom, this is what he told us anyway, when he came out of the bathroom, they just stared at each other for a few seconds. Then he just, I guess, just grabbed his neck, and they got in a scuffle. And then a train employee broke them up, thinking it was just a fight. And when he broke them up, that's when he entered our car, shot Mark in the neck, and then that's when we intervened.
Right, Mark Mugalian, who is a French-American who approached him, he got shot, his wife saw it, and that's when you three entered the scene. When you were in the scuffle with this guy, did you ever wonder where are the other people on the train? Where was the backup?
No, I was more worried about someone else coming in with another gun, like he had buddies with him or something. So that's why I was glad.
And we didn't really
everyone played their role.
Frankly, I mean, we had between the three of us on one guy. It wasn't really a thing.
I knew we had it, but he just kept pulling out weapons, so it was just like, man, like we need to knock him out, as soon as we can.
There wasn't any really room for anyone else to help out because it's such a small area.
And three big guys, right? Yeah. And how long did it take, the whole scuffle from beginning to end, where you first approached him to the moment where you had him restrained?
I would say tops 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
It was fast. Like it was 3-on-1. It wasn't like it was pretty quick.
The longest time was just waiting for him to pass out, frankly.
So I want to get to that because now he's slicing you with a box cutter where we just left off. Did you feel it? I mean, he's gotten you in the eye.
I kind of felt him. You know, I just saw him kind of going like this, and then something dragged across my neck. I didn't feel that, and then I looked over at my finger, and that's when I saw it cut down to the bone. And then that's when I started to scream, "Hey, he's got a knife! He's got a knife! Get the knife away!" And I just kind of pushed him away, I kicked him a little bit, and then that's when he kind of ended up in the middle of the train, and then that's when we were all surrounding him.
Did you feel pain in that moment?
No, not at all.
Not at all. It was just
my
pure
adrenaline was going. Yeah.
Did you have a conscious thought of, have I been sliced in the neck? Am I in danger of dying?
I didn't even know.
I had to tell him, like, after he crawled over to Mr. Mulligan, like, and he was already giving him the treatment. I had to tell him because I didn't notice until I was standing over top of him, and then like he moved a little bit, and the back of his neck opened up, and I was like, Spencer, don't move. Like I didn't, like he was already giving the first aid, but I was like, try not to move, and he was like, why? I was like, your neck is cut, and he was like, is it bad? I was like, yeah, but you're not bleeding like too bad, and he was just like, all right.
Yeah, I feel like he tried to lie to me a little bit in that. I was like,
was that a good decision?
All right, ain't that bad.
From the video, it shows it was pretty bad, but I didn't want him to start panicking because he was saving somebody else's life. So
because you have a video that you took on board the train, which has been incredible to see, of some of the scuffle, and we see one shirtless man.
Well, it was after he was tied up and he was already given first aid. It wasn't during like the ordeal or anything.
But what's incredible about this is when you finally got him restrained, you're bleeding out the back of your neck, and if he had sliced just a little deeper or a little to the left or to the right.
And that's where I think my jiu-jitsu came in, because they teach you to, like, you know, tuck your body tight, and I had all the right movements, and so I wasn't.
Pretty deep
I was pretty deep, and I was kind of hugging his back, so he didn't. I don't think he would have even had the opportunity to do that, but I mean, it could have easily happened if he was stronger and managed to get out of my grip.
It was only about an inch away, so yeah.
No biggie.
Yeah, you could have been killed in that moment quite easily.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I mean, yet another moment that.
Even if he would have stabbed instead of slicing, it could have been completely different too.
And yet, while you're bleeding out of your neck and your thumb is almost severed, you went to save the life of Mark, who was the first one shot by this terrorist. And while you're doing that, you're patrolling the rest of the train looking for other bad guys, which is, I mean, there was no stopping you guys in terms of your bravery and your courage and your willingness to put yourself in the line of fire. What the viewers may not know is that you actually have some medical training. That's what you were doing in Portugal for the Air Force, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'm an EMT.
And so
people keep trying to say I'm a paramedic, but I'm just an EMT.
You're an EMT.
Yes.
Okay, so had you ever...
You're getting promoted later.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna.
Just want to clear that up.
Had you ever had to save somebody's life in this way before?
Never. I mean, I've only worked in a pediatric clinic and ambulance services in the Azores, and you know, not much happens there. you know.
Stomach viruses.
Yeah, people want to get out of work
Chickenpox.
the next day or something
Okay, so
like
not,
that.
you know,
so.
severed arteries.
No, never.
So
I've
when
never even seen that.
You
so.
guys, you get this guy down. You wind up restraining him. Is it true that you used ties and scarves from people on board the train to tie him up, hog tie him?
That was Chris.
That was mostly Chris.
Yeah.
We got
This is a
him
Brit
few
who stepped
ties.
in to help.
Yeah, he was a great help. He helped tie him up while I was gone looking down the other cars, and Spencer was obviously saving Mark's life. So he not only did that, but he actually translated for us with like a lot of the French trained employees that were doing a lot of ridiculous stuff. So he was actually a great help just for his language skills and his great
Hog-tying
ability
skills.
to hog tie
insane, like,
a terrorist. So I don't know where he learned that one.
That
but,
comes in
it's
handy.
great.
He must have
Well,
practiced that.
Yeah.
What were the ridiculous things that the French trained employees were doing?
They tried to
were-
get him to stop the chokehold.
yeah.
And
Random employee for the first time we seen him, like he just ran over, and this is this is like really toward the end, like the guy's slipping away.
was-
He runs
yeah,
over,
but
like
he wasn't
let
even
him go,
conscious.
let him go.
He's telling you to let go of the terrorist.
Yeah, he starts to slap the guy
Yeah,
and like, oh, stop, he's unconscious. And I just screamed at him something else and was like, get away from me, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I mean,
and then just
And
back
we're like
up.
screaming at him, like he's not gonna, like
Yeah,
don't
and
let
then
him
he's
go.
telling
don't
Alec
let
to
him
put
go.
the AK down, and we're
Yeah.
like, no, it's fine. We got it handled. Where were you 5 minutes ago? Get away. And so.
And
it
the
was,
first thing he did after all that, once we got him away, is he comes back with like wet paper towels just first to like wipe our hands off with. Like, Spencer's still holding this guy's neck,
Oh,
like
my.
he's bleeding out. I'm like, dude, we're not worried about cleaning up yet. Like, we got business first.
Yeah, just needed to get
It's
out
the
of the way.
funniest thing ever.
So you needed somebody to restrain the employee from
Yeah.
you as you restrain the
Yeah,
terrorist.
So that's where
Yeah,
Chris
that's
came in.
kind
He
of
was
annoying.
like
Yeah,
translating,
Chris
told him
was-
to get back, like
exactly.
you know, like we have this.
Yeah.
Like,
We've got it.
Yeah.
Now, what about you? When you go patrol, so these guys have got the terrorist under control. You decide to go to see if there are any other bad guys. Was there any fear that you might find one?
No, honestly, like it sounds cool and whatnot, but like I just charged the AK, extended the buttstock, and I didn't even have it like ready. I was fairly convinced that there was nobody on the train because I mean you could look back and see them; they're empty. I was carrying it like down here, like by the receiver. I
What were
wasn't
they
even,
doing? Were
I
they
wasn't
looking
even
at
thinking
you
that
when,
far
when
ahead.
you were walking through the train car?
No,
with the AK?
again, there was nobody in like I went 3 cars back, completely empty.
Train still moving at this point?
It was just stopping or had stopped at that point. At the first stop, it wasn't at the station yet. But everybody was crammed back into about the 3rd or 4th car back.
They were all together.
Yeah, everybody just pushed back away, and they were just all crammed in that one little car. And I just asked them if there was anybody else hurt that we didn't know about or any other gunmen, and they said no. So I just went back up and started helping Spencer with Mark and cleared the AK.
In the meantime, Spencer, you are there with your hands inside Mark's neck, basically.
Yeah, I just had my 2 fingers.
And we got a first aid kit, and so he's like trying to instruct me like
Yeah.
what to take out of the first aid kit.
I wanted
and
him
I'm
to like read it to me. I couldn't really see what it was.
So I had
And
to-
but it was in
I like-
French.
yeah,
so
I like
I was
kneeled-
like, this
I
is
kneeled down
useless.
It was in
next to
French?
him.
Yeah, and so
And I kneel down next to him because he has blood coming down his face. Spencer does, so he can barely even see. So I like open the first aid kit. I'm like going through it, like, do you need this? Do you need this? And he's just like trying to do that while I hold him.
Yeah.
And he's just nothing. The first
we
aid
just
kit was
got the
helpful.
scissors.
So.
I was like,
It was not helpful.
I told his wife, Isabel, to grab the scissors that are in the trauma shears and just to cut his shirt off because I wanted to check if he had any other wounds or anything like that, because he could have just, still been dying even though I'm stopping this. And we kind of cut his shirt. If we didn't cut it off all the way, we should have. Alec was sweeping his body, trying to find a gunshot wound. We didn't find anything. I was like, oh, did he just get grazed in the neck or something like that?
I thought he got stabbed
Right.
because we didn't see
Yeah.
it. Like,
His
it looked
wife-
like he had just got stabbed
His wife
at first.
kept insisting
Because
that
he got shot through the back and it came out the neck.
Well,
So
when I
it hit him
first-
back here, it went down between his ribs, pierced his left lung, and then it came out of his neck.
When I first seen him after the gunman was passed out, I turned around. This is the first time I've ever seen Mark throughout the whole ordeal. Like, has a hole in his neck and it's just squirting across like the aisleway. And then he's like bleeding all down his shirt.
Oh.
So I'm thinking he had gotten stabbed because I still at that point have not heard a gunshot. So like,
What were you going to say, Alec, about his wife, about Mark's wife?
Oh, it's just his wife kept insisting that he got shot in the chest, so I took the box cutter and cut his shirt off and looked on his chest, and there was nothing on his chest, so it was
he
pretty
speaking?
high up here. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
he was speaking pretty normally.
He
It
was
was-
speaking a lot. Yeah.
that was a
It
weird
wasn't
thing.
funny, but I mean, looking back on it, it's pretty funny. I was like, hey man, you want to say a prayer with me real quick? Because in my mind, I'm like, you're dead. And that's why I'd call his wife over and wanted her to kind of like say her last words, I guess. And then he was like, no, I think I'm good. And I was like, what? And I was like, all right, man. Cool. I said a prayer for him
He's actually
anyway.
complaining
Did you?
about
Yeah,
sitting
he was
on his
complaining
arm.
about his arm and things like
But
that. I was like, man, I don't care if your
that's
arm
incredible.
hurts.
In that
Yeah.
moment, bleeding out of the back of your neck and saving his life with your hands on his artery, did you take the time to say a prayer?
Yeah, I said one for myself too. I didn't know what my neck
Amen.
was like. Yeah, so I was like, man, yeah.
It was crazy.
Unbelievable.